Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Fear the Queer.
A show that talks about everything on our queer agendas. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Josh.
Oh, and clearly we both got the memo to wear stripes today because we were both sporting striped shirts.
This
Look
is
at us
very much
being
a
cool for the
Bert
summer.
and Ernie realness.
Bert and Ernie. I mean, I feel like you're more Ernie today because I'm feeling grumpy today. So I'll be Bert.
Grumpy? What's going on?
Technical difficulties. Always technical difficulties. It just drives me crazy.
Is your assistant Brandon helping you on this situation? Are you paying them well enough?
Well, I think helping is a term used loosely. Which is something else I think
also could describe you.
I was gonna say could also describe me as a loose lady, a tour. But yeah, I'm feeling, you know what? I'm not feeling grumpy. I'm not going to go into this day feeling grumpy. I'm going to go in feeling light and free.
You're gonna get this bread.
We're gonna get this bread, Girlboss. You better make that bread, Girlboss.
Get that bread, girl boss. So on today's episode, Kyle and I are going to be talking about the stereotype girl boss and the evolution that it has become over the years. One, what it even means, because it's kind of confusing. Two, how to spot one in the wild. And three, how to avoid all this shit in general. Because let's be real, it's 2021. New dawn upon us.
It's a new dawn upon us, and we are the dawning of the podcast version of Girl Bosses.
So are we really just reading ourselves?
Everything we do on this show is us just personifying our own insecurities. So, you know, be a girl boss, be a queer boss, be a queer boss. Yeah. Don't cancel us. Kind of like how a little can you keep up moment. Ellen DeGeneres
is canceled. Not just canceled in the cancel culture form, but she's canceled on the TV form. So today, Ellen announced that after 19 seasons, next year, the Ellen DeGeneres show is going to be coming to an end because she said she needed something that is going to challenge her. And I would say maybe talk to an HR representative. That'll be challenging enough for you as it is.
Well, yeah, I was going to say she probably fired all the HR representatives, and that's what became so easy for her.
True.
Hostile work environment really does not work out for people.
No.
Ellen DeGeneres. Girl boss energy.
That is true, actually.
Yep, she's a girl boss. She danced into our households and into our hearts, and she fooled all of us. But you know what? The rose-colored glasses are off now, Ellen. Dakota Johnson single-handedly took you down.
We did it, Dakota. Exactly.
We did it, Dakota. We got rid of Ellen.
We got rid of Ellen. All right, before we get to heart of our gay agenda today, Kyle, what are you drinking from your canister?
Well, you know me, I love coffee. And as much as I think of myself as a Starbucks Trenta queen, I didn't get my Trenta coffee today. And maybe that's also why I'm kind of grumpy. Woke up a little bit late, so all I could do was make my own iced coffee at home, like a popper. Oh, look at this.
Hey now. I make my own iced coffee at home.
As I said, like a popper. But so my iced coffee, I use that term loosely because we all know me. It's just coffee that sat on the counter too long and I threw some cubes in it. So it's not even my Trenta from Starbucks. It's technically iced. But so that's what I'm drinking today. Josh, what are you drinking today?
I have my trusty water bottle over in the corner here, but it's actually too far for me to reach. So I'm just going to stare at my water bottle longingly, wanting to get a drink from it.
You know what? The heart wants what the heart wants. And you want the hydration. I want the caffeine.
It is what it is.
But at least I got mine. It is what it is. But regardless, cheers queers.
Cheers, queers. Clink, clink.
Clink, clink.
All right, for our warm-up today, we are going to do another segment of Catch That Queer to You. Wow. I can't talk.
Catch that queer to you. Are you like like you're like a Swedish tourist?
Yeah.
Catch that queer to you?
Catch that queer to you.
Well, IKEA,
Yeah. Hello,
Sweden.
Swedish meatballs.
Hello, Swedish meatballs.
So, for those of you who do not know, it is Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, also known as AAPI Heritage Month. And because of that, Kyle and I are going to be celebrating our fancy little queer Asians that have made an impact for our community from the past, present, and future. So, Kyle, would you like to start first on your favorite Asian of this month?
Well, Josh, if you're fishing, here's a big old net. Josh, you are the first on my queer Asians on Catch That Queer that I'm going to be talking about.
Oh my god, thank
Now,
you.
Josh Bonney is a 57-year-old podcast host out of Chicago,
Mhm.
Indiana. No, she's no. I'm joking. I'm all over the place. I'm joking. Josh, we love Josh. We stand Josh. But these people are other famous queer Asians. And my first
They
is going
are
to
out
be
there.
they are out there. It's not just Josh. Not just Josh. That's going to be the new tagline. Not just Josh.
Not just Josh.
That's your new TV show on ABC Fridays at 8 p.m. Not just Josh.
Wait, on Fridays, that means no one's watching it.
Well, if it was 1997, they would have been, because TGIF was all I ever did on Friday
That's
nights.
true. Okay. Anyway.
Just schedule you between Family Matters and Sabrina the Teenage Witch. That's a nice little cushion that we got for you.
I like that.
Marketing, not just Josh. But
not just a girl boss.
Not just a girl boss. Not just a girl boss. Not just Josh. Not yet a girl. Not yet a girl boss. I'm not a girl. Not yet a girl boss. Yeah,
girl
there
boss.
we go.
Yeah.
Free Britney. So Gina Rosero is my first Asian queer person that I want to highlight. Mm-hmm. So Gina kind of came onto the scene in 2014 when she did a TED Talk highlighting her transition as a trans woman. Since then, she has been a model, an advocate. She has an organization fighting for equal rights. And recently, she also was part of Playboy and was the first Playmate of the Month who is trans.
Wow.
And yeah, and she was able to kind of like talk about that in Playboy. And Playboy made a statement saying, you know, they encourage this, not only because, you know, Gina is beautiful, but also because it continues the truth. I was going to say the narrative, but the truth that trans women are women. Mm-hmm. So Gina is my first. She's wonderful.
Well, I was gonna say, kudos to Playboy to not only, you know, highlighting a trans woman as Playmate of the Month, but I'm actually kind of shocked because I thought Playboy was done.
Well, it might be done in print. I think.
Oh.
Online, it might be different because, like, where I was reading it was 2019 that she was Playmate of the Month for August. And then in 2020, they did like a year, like she was also Playmate of the Year, but they had also chosen multiple women to kind of highlight just like a diverse group, I guess.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah, very cool. And she is still modeling. She still is a huge advocate and does talks all over the world. She talks about tech, since like TED Talk was like kind of her way to break through to a large audience. So she's very cool.
Isn't it crazy how at one point TED Talks were a way that you could like get into the mainstream, when in reality it was just like an in-person podcast?
Basically.
Yeah.
You don't always have like the audience responding to you. So it really is just us talking at you and you listening.
I was gonna say, so just like this podcast, the audience is unresponsive.
Well, that's I have a restraining order. I have a gag order on the audience, which
makes sense.
Like a gag order.
A gag order. All right. So my first Catch That Queer of AAPI month is Cecilia Chung. Have you heard of her?
No, tell me about her.
Okay. So Cecilia Chung is a civil rights leader who was born in Hong Kong and then later immigrated to LA in 1984, which by the way, all three of my Asian queers have somehow like found a home in LA. So maybe I should just move soon. Um so Cecilia's life has been very prominent in the sense that she has been working very hard for healthcare related issues that affect the queer community, especially considering the fact like in the 90s, this is like the height of the AIDS epidemic.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's running rampant and there's no healthcare reform for queer people whatsoever in sight. So Cecilia became the first trans woman to lead the board of directors of the San Francisco Pride celebration
Hmm.
and the first Asian and transgender person to openly living with HIV to chair the San Francisco Human Rights Commission.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
I know. That's I mean, I can only imagine like having that like on a little placard, like all that description underneath it. It's just like
Very like
I
just fit it
am
all
this.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Cecilia has been open about her reliance on sex work to be able to get by in LA. She's also talked about how that's put her in a lot of dangerous situations. One, unfortunately, she did contract HIV during her time that she was a sex worker. And then she also was stabbed in a sexual assault case against one of
Oh
her
my God.
clients. But I guess the kind of small silver lining of this is that because she had to go to the emergency room, they contacted her mother, who she was estranged with for a while because she transitioned.
Mm-hmm.
And then her mom came to visit her in the hospital and they reconciled during that time frame.
Oh my
So,
God.
yeah, and it was under unfortunate circumstances, but I'm very happy that Cecilia and her mom were able to, get back together.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
so
crazy.
this is the nice big thing about Cecilia. In 2013, she helped make San Francisco the first city to pay for gender reassignment surgery for an uninsured trans people. And she did
Love to
this
see
after
it.
having one meeting with Mayor Edward Lee at the time. She's really cool. For those of you who are interested in knowing a little bit more about her history, do you know the ABC miniseries? Actually, you did talk about this in episode 2 of our podcast, When We Rise.
I do know. I know that miniseries, and I also have the book.
See, Cecilia is mentioned both in the book and she's featured by Ivory Aquino in the miniseries. So check her out.
Wait, wait, wait.
Hmm.
Okay, I think I know who this is now.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna
Okay,
say
I know who
what
that character is. Yeah.
when you said you're just like, I'm not sure if I do. I'm just like, no, I'm pretty sure you know who
You're like, you
Cecilia
do
is.
know who this is. Yeah, I'm so bad with names.
I just thought it was like a Mariah, like Jennifer moment. You're just like you had beef with
Oh
Cecilia.
God, I would never have beef with Cecilia. Could you imagine?
Right? She's just like, I don't know him. So just
Yeah, and I'm
like
like, well, she's right.
so
We are
that
just
is
future friends.
exactly. So that was my first catch that queer. Kyle, you have another one on the list here.
I have another Catch That Queer, and this one is on TV. And if you ever watch SNL on NBC, you're gonna see Bowen Yang. So Bowen Yang, if you're living under a rock, which some people are, and that's fun, Patrick Star, but Bowen Yang, the starfish, not the
I was like,
makeup
not the
guru.
makeup guru.
Um,
Yeah.
not the makeup guru. But Bowen Yang is, I believe, the first Asian to be cast on SNL, and this was like a few years ago. He
Hmm.
came up through the writers' room, and now he's one of the castmates. He's also openly gay, and he runs a podcast, Las Culturistas. If you have not listened to them, they're quite funny. Him and
They're the
his
brand
co-host Matt
version of
Rogers.
Fear the Queer.
Yeah, they're the money version of Fear the Queer.
Yeah.
Um, but they talk about pop culture, and most recently, Elon Musk was hosting SNL, and that was interesting. Did you watch? I didn't watch. Did you
I
watch?
didn't watch, no.
I didn't watch either. But Bowen kind of spoke out against Elon Musk hosting. I just don't. I don't know. That's a whole other topic. But if you want to catch one of the funniest things that Bowen has done, uh, they did a sketch recently with Bowen Yang as the iceberg who sunk the Titanic. And like the iceberg just kept like, I was told that I was going to come here and not talk about the incident. I'm here to promote my new album, my new music. It's
Yeah.
very funny. It's very, very funny. Yeah, so Bowen Yang.
I definitely think that SNL has like found their magic point with Bowen of like just put him
Mhm.
on like this stupid character on Weekend Update with Colin and Michael, and like they can all just banter off of each other. I feel like that's where Bowen really shines, and I
Yeah,
really really hope, I'm praying to God that he gets an Emmy this year for his work on SNL, because I think it would be so
I
well
hope
deserved.
so. It's so deserved. SNL, I mean, I feel like anytime people talk about SNL, it's always like, it's not as good as it used to be. They will
Hmm.
always say that. I remember being a kid and people saying like, oh, it's not as good as it was in the 80s, and that was in the 90s when I first started watching. And then in the 2000s, it was, oh, that wasn't as good as the 90s, and so on and so forth. And I feel like there's some really sweet moments of humor when it comes to like Bowen is really strong with this. A.D. Bryant is good. Kate
Hmm.
McKinnon, but you don't. It's not coming from a majority of the cast. And
No,
like, girl, the call's coming from within the house. You just need
exactly.
to you just need to have those prime players, like the actual funny people. You don't need 50 white guys that are all average looking. It is
No. Like what's his
wild.
name? Like Beck Bennett. I was just like I don't
Yeah.
find him that particularly funny. I don't find Pete very funny, to be quite honest with you.
Pete Davidson is, I mean,
He's
this
a
is not me
sweetheart,
to
but like
comment. I was gonna say I don't feel like commenting on his character, but it's I don't know. I don't
right, it's
know.
just like do something.
Do something more gay.
Yeah.
In the words of Kathy Griffin, more gay,
More gay.
more gay.
Exactly.
We need more gay on SNL.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like with Kate and Bowen being like two of the biggest like queer representations on TV right now, more gay.
More gay,
More gay.
more gay. And
Speaking
it's like the SNL. You know how they'll be like, A.D. Bryant, Cecily Strong, Bowen Yang, more gay. Like it'll be like that.
right.
Musical guests, Cyndi Lauper,
Cindy
and your
Lauper.
host. Because it's your true colors. That's where my head went with it.
I was gonna say I'm like really living for this like quasi like queer episode of SNL.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's always funnier when they do queer shit on SNL because I feel like it's kind of like a quiet little wink to
Hmm.
the queers out there. Because otherwise, I'm like, what is this straight malarkey?
Yeah, it's like who cares otherwise. Speaking of more gay, I have another catch that queer for you. This person has been around for a very long time, but I feel like they don't actually get the recognition that they deserve in terms of how much of an impact they have left on the queer community and the Asian community. It's Daddy BD Wong.
Oh,
So yes,
we love
so
Beatty.
we love BD Wong. So a lot of you actually will know or recognize BD Wong in something. It's just that he's definitely always pushed to the background. So people are just like, who, when they first hear of him. So BD Wong got his start on his Broadway debut in M Butterfly, which we should go into a podcast all about that play one of these days here. But it's a great like
It was.
gender queer play
Mhm.
that gave BD his start. He won a Tony Award for it. And then he's gone on to be in the Jurassic Park series. He was in Father of the Bride. He's the voice of my favorite, Captain Li Shang, in Mulan. And then he also has this really great TV career. He was in Law and Order, which I don't really watch, but he was in Oz, which I didn't have HBO, but I knew it was kind of scandalous and kind of gay. Um,
Once I
Mr.
found out that Oz was not about the Wizard of Oz, I was like, ooh, I don't know if I can watch this. I'm like, they did what in a shower?
Right.
Yeah.
No, it was crazy because like I remember like promos of Oz coming out, and I was mad because it was like, why are they ripping off Wizard of Oz? I was just like,
Oh
oh, this
yeah.
is like a
I thought it
prison
was
show.
gonna be like a gritty Wizard of Oz, which hey, I would love that. Come out with
Yeah.
that. We'll cast BD Wong as the wizard. Come on now.
Ooh,
Ooh,
I like
right?
that.
Sorry. Yeah. Just saying.
Anyway, and now he's starring as from sorry, it's a long title. Aquafina is Nora from Queens as Aquafina's dad. Which
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen it. It's on Comedy Central. It's very cute. It's
Bowen Yang is also in it.
Bowen Yang is also on it. Bowen
Yep.
Yang's everywhere. Let's be real. I also just watched Girls Five Eva, and Bowen has this great little cameo episode on
Oh,
there
does
as
it?
well.
I love
It's so
it.
cute. Um, so the reason why I'm highlighting BD Wong is because again, he's had a very long, successful career that doesn't really get a lot of recognition. But also on top of that, BD is also very prominent in terms of using his free time to help be an advocate for the queer and the Asian community. He has donated to many queer charities, including the Ali Forney Center in New York. For those of you who don't know, that's the largest organization that helps fight for LGBTQ homeless youth. And now in the pandemic, he's also been very active, especially on Instagram, with the hashtag Stop Asian Hate movement. And he's been speaking with a lot of people about his perspective as an Asian actor who has a lot of privilege. So he's really cool. Give him if you can, look into his work, watch one of his movies. He's so good. Keep him in the back of your mind. I don't know. Just do it
Keep
for
him in the
me.
forefront of your mind. Keep him in the forefront. BD Wong, forefront of the mind.
Forefront of the mind. Exactly. That's the takeaway of it all. Just
Yeah.
keep him right here.
Keep him right here in the frontal lobe.
Yeah.
Right there. It's pizza rolls, coffee, BD Wong.
Right.
Frontal lobe of my brain.
So that is my second catch that
That's your
queer.
second?
Yeah, Kyle, we have what, 3 each here?
Yeah, I have another.
Okay.
I have another queer to talk about.
Another queer, another Asian queer.
Another queer. And that is Chella Man. So I know you know Chella. So Chella is a deaf, trans, Chinese, and Jewish person who lives in New York City. They are an artist, and they kind of grew to notoriety by documenting their transition a couple years ago. And they were very young at the time, also not very young, but they were like late teens when they started to physically transition. And I think that because it was a few years ago, I think a lot of people don't have, I guess, a very strong idea of what that might mean, especially when it comes to like trans masculine people.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is a lot to talk about with trans women, as there should be, but sometimes it seems like in the media trans masculine people are kind of like pushed to the side. um so Chella kind of put that to the forefront, and he's also been a part of like different campaigns, mostly for like Pride Month and stuff like that, but not exclusively. He's done some collaborations with different fashions, and he was on that one show. It's oh god, it's now I'm forgetting, but
But it
it's a
was a
DC.
superhero
It's a
show.
superhero movie or a show. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So he
And
was on that, and he played a deaf character on the show.
mm-hmm.
Because he's a huge advocate not only for the trans community but also for the deaf community.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty cool. We don't have There's not always people who are in the spotlight that have those intersections of their identity and are so open with sharing with people. And Chella is in his early 20s, so to be so like open and thoughtful and aware. Like in my early 20s, I was like breaking my foot singing and dancing to the Little Mermaid and getting kidney stones and crying waiting for the bus on Halloween. It was not that cute.
I was
Like
gonna say, like, I wish I had the campaigns that Chella did in their early 20s, but at the same time, I'm just like, I don't think I would have handled it well.
oh, I would have been a mess.
Right. No,
Yeah,
I
we love
remember
Chella Man.
Chella, they were featured on, was it the Gap Pride
Yeah,
campaign?
I think I can't remember if it was Gap or Levi.
It was one of them. It was like one of the
Yeah.
ones where it's just like, if you're on a campaign that's marketed to white people, you made it. Like,
Hey Gap.
speaking of which, I went to a Gap the other day, and It made me uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie. Like
Really?
everything
Why?
looked well, just everything looked so bland. Like it looks like they washed this like blue t-shirt like 5 times
Mhm.
and it like faded out and they're just like, here, this is $60. I'm just like,
Oh, because
what?
they're like it because it's like the whole 90s thing, like the faded, like like rewashed vibe. I
I
don't know.
guess.
To like just go to a thrift store.
Right. Well, I said this many times over the years. I'll say it again. Friends don't let friends shop at Gap. It is what it is.
Well,
Looking at you.
that felt very directed at
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I okay, no. The last time I went to a Gap was like, oh my goodness. Last time I was in a Gap, I was in a Gap over in Lakeview, 2016, summer of 2016 to find a shirt for Pride because I was looking for a light pink shirt with a pocket on it.
Oh.
Do you remember that? And I put my Kewpie patch on it.
I do remember that. We
That
should
was the
go
last
through
time I was in
our
a Pride.
old. I was just last time you were in a Pride.
Last time I was at a Gap. Sorry, I heard Gap and I thought Pride because it fills me with such pride.
That is true. I was gonna say we should go through our old Pride outfits and share them with
Wow.
our listeners sometime because my my first Pride look was a choice. Anyway, so I have one last catch that queer for you guys,
All
and
right.
it is Helen Zia. Ever heard of her?
No.
Okay, she has a long history here, and I'm only like
Okay.
grazing the surface of the Boeing iceberg here, so get ready
Huh.
here. So, she is a journalist whose activism has been credited as a key figure in the Asian American movement. She was a member of its first graduating class at Princeton College. So, let me rephrase that. She went to Princeton and she was in the first class of graduating women from that college in the early 70s. 70s. Can you
Work.
believe that?
Oh
And then
my
over the years,
god.
her journalism has focused primarily on the Asian American experience. Some of the books that she has written is Asian American Dreams, The Emergence of an American People, uh, Last Boat Out of Shanghai, which she actually spent 12 years writing, and she kept coming back to and from China to write the experiences of
I
people
feel
who
like
were
I've heard of
immigrating.
that.
It just came out
I
two
think I've
years
heard of
ago.
that. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then she
I'm just like, oh wait.
co-authored. Yeah, she co-authored the book "My Country versus Me" with Wen Ho Lee. So during her, this is one of the prominent things that she has done here during her stay in Detroit in the early 1980s. She was in Detroit at the
Detroit.
same time as when Vincent Chin was murdered. Do you remember this story?
No, I'm not that old.
Okay. Well, I didn't know. I couldn't tell, ma'am.
Uh 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 uh, uh
Oh, yeah.
I'm gooped.
So Vincent Chin was beaten to death by two white men, and his killers served no jail time. Though Helen was one of the people who actually helped try to push federal charges against these men. They they were charged with second degree murder, but they got away with manslaughter and only had to pay a $3,000 fine.
A $3,000 fine. Are you
Yep,
freaking kidding me?
and no jail time. So because of
That's
that,
fucked.
yeah, um, there was a lot of outrage against this, being like, this is
Mhm.
clearly a hate crime. How can you
Yeah.
let them get away with this? And it's one of the earliest examples of the modern day Asian American rights movement in America. And Helen was there right at the forefront trying to get legislation passed to be able to protect Asian American people, which is very timely today because we're seeing a lot of,
Mhm.
Asian hate all across this country here. Um, and in 2010, right after Prop 8, she was one of the key witnesses in the federal case of marriage equality at the Supreme Court in 2010.
Okay.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah. And then on top of that, this is just the frosting on top of it all. When she married her partner, Leah, she became one of the first legally married queer couples in California. So she has all these like check marks under her name.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's really cool. She's been around, for a long time helping the cause so much. And it's just interesting how like her activism is still very relevant today of just the
Mhm.
stop Asian hate movement. Um, so I think it's not a great full circle, but it's still a full circle moment that we have going on here.
I was gonna say it's like it's one of those things where um you're grateful that there are people who are continuing to do the activism that they've always done. But it's frustrating that there still needs to be that activism, that there still is hate towards Asians or other people. And I feel like that's like the double-edged sword when it comes to any kind of activism, is because
Hmm.
you want to be able to have people who are activists and who do really good things for the community that they're serving. But at the same time, if the problems have been solved and justice have been served, there wouldn't be a need for that. Unfortunately,
Exactly.
we live in a really crappy world, so there may always be need for activists, but we applaud her for
Hmm.
doing all that work.
Well, and in a way, all the people that we have listed are activists in some way or another, whether it be that they are activists through their art, or they're on the front line, or they're behind the scenes. Taking a stance in these days somehow is still a powerful statement in a lot of ways. So,
Yeah.
we at Fear the Queer just like to highlight these people. We also like to encourage people to also take a stand, whether it be donating, you know, protesting, doing whatever you can to just make sure that the world is trying to become a better place. Thank you for
Ding.
coming to my TED Talk.
Oh my god. And then suddenly Josh leaves Fear the Queer, goes on to do only TED Talks, but they're called Josh Talks.
And now, to get to the heart of our queer agenda today, Kyle and I are going to be talking everything hashtag Girlboss.
And we just want to kind of go through this, I guess, a cultural phenomenon. Everyone throws around the term girl boss all the time. Oh, you're a girl
Mhm.
boss. You're such a girl boss.
I'm
But
not bossy, I'm the boss.
I'm the boss. Um, and I guess before we get super into it, I just want to say this conversation has nothing to do with women who want to work, who may be bosses, who may want to start their own business or are thinking about doing that. We support you. We love you. Do your thing. Okay.
Mhm.
We're talking about the very specific girl boss that is tied to the capitalist ideologies.
Mhm. We're going to
And
go
I feel
Karl
like,
Marx on you today.
oh, we're going Kyle Marx on you today. So get out your manifestos, because here we go, host. So the term girl
Oh my
boss,
god,
as we
Kyle
do you love
Marx
it?
and the manifestos. I love that.
And the manifestos.
Yeah, manifestos.
Yeah, Kyle Marx and the manifestos. Oh man.
It's like Gem
All
and the
right.
hologram, but Kyle and
Yeah,
the
it's gonna be my new band name.
There you go.
Kyle Marx. So the term girl boss, as is more commonly used today, actually originated from this writer, Sophia Marosa, who was writing in her book about how she started her own brand or her own company, which again, you do your thing. But she described it as a woman whose success is defined in opposition to the masculine business world in which she swims upstream. So I don't think it's any surprise that women and femmes in this country or around the world have a more difficult time in the business workplace, because we have so
Mhm.
much toxic masculinity and our world is run by the patriarchy.
Mhm.
But the idea that someone's worth is tied to making money or starting businesses. No, your worth is tied to who you are as a person.
Mhm.
And I think that there's this kind of false narrative that girl boss is somehow like more woke or like better, like, oh, I'm such a girl boss. Now again, hey, maybe we're girl bosses, maybe we're the girl bosses of the podcast world, I don't know. But the idea that you create this term girl boss, but then you don't actually have things in the workplace that would help women, like
Mhm.
childcare or equal pay or health insurance. Like none of that happens.
Maternity
So it's kind of
leave.
like this like maternity leave. It's this false idea that you're a boss when you're with the boys. You're a girl boss with the boys. And I feel like it only like kind of evolves into this because men are so prominent in workplaces.
Oh yeah, totally. I feel like not what originated as girl boss, but what modern day girl boss is and how it's
Mm-hmm.
marketed is what's really gross. Because I feel like, do you ever watch Working Girl with Melanie Griffith and Sigourney Weaver?
Yeah, I know the movie. I haven't
Yeah, yeah,
watched
yeah.
it, but I know.
Okay,
Mhm.
so like the whole point of the movie is that Sigourney Weaver is supposed to be like boss bitch who like is, not sexual, really ruthless and blah blah blah. Melanie Griffith is all about like, oh, I can be soft and I can have a man in my
Mhm.
life and I can still be, a boss too or whatever. And I remember watching that film and getting really mad because Sigourney Weaver gets punished at the end. Now, granted, she does do something shitty, but I'm just like, why are we like punishing Sigourney Weaver for being just really good at her job, basically? You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I feel like that has then turned into promotion of, you know, I am my own boss. I can do what, these men do, blah, blah, blah. I'm a girl boss. I'm not bossy. I'm the boss. And then it then turns around and like isolates all these other women who might not have the same opportunities to be a girl boss like they do. So like it kind of
Mhm.
just like falls back on itself of just like pitting women against women again.
Right. It's kind of like it's like faux feminism. You
Yeah.
think that it's like, oh, this feminist like calling card to be a girl boss. Um, but in actuality, you're only saying you're a girl boss because you are up against men. And you're trying to like I guess differentiate because of your gender. Like it's not breaking the glass ceiling to call yourself a girl boss. It really doesn't do that much. But it's just like let me just say this.
Yeah.
It all kind of goes into the fact that making money in this country has become such an obsession and people's personalities and like, oh, I gotta get on the grind, or oh my god, I gotta
Let's get
hustle.
this bread, kings.
Let's get this bread, kings. Literally, like, calm down. And
Yeah.
if anything, it has heightened because of the pandemic. When we're in the middle of the pandemic, I know you, I know everyone probably who is watching or listening to this saw the posts that were like, now's your time to start a business, to get things done, to be your own boss, and all this other stuff. That's great if that's what you want. If that's like your
Sure.
thing, you want
Yeah.
to do that, go right ahead. I am not going to tell you you can't. But I feel like it has encouraged people to make it their entire personality to be on the grind. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I woke up like this. I'm flawless. Like all
Yeah.
this other stuff. And you have the girl bosses who have their mid-level marketing makeup parties. But
The
it feels
Ponzi
very like
schemes.
the Ponzi schemes. It feels
Yeah.
very white feminism in the sense that like when they're like, oh, girl bosses, we include all women. Well, are you also including your trans siblings when you're inviting people to your Facebook makeup parties? I don't know. I'm just saying, not a read, just a fact. And so it's like you have those girl bosses, but on the flip side, you have the get this bread kings,
Hmm.
who are just like the toxically masculine business bros.
Right. And it's like those are the type of people who will like, do you remember this old meme that was just like they're talking about like the more money, it's this guy, he posted a status, he's like the more money you get, like the faker people are to you. And like the guy comments underneath, he's like, dude, you work at a Jimmy John's. Like it's just like
Yeah, it's just like it's hey, I have an inflated ego.
yeah.
Like we this. But there's such an inflated egotistical drive behind some of these people.
Hmm.
Um where all they want to do is make money, and they're not even making that much money. Like money's made up. It's all fake. But like
That's the thing. Like that's the thing.
it's
Money is a concept at the end of the day. So it's really
yeah.
crazy to me how like they're not only working really hard to, just for this like concept in their head, but also
Mhm.
because of social media, everything's already made up as it is,
Yeah.
Like they could be having the worst fucking day and then they'd be taking a selfie of them like in a leather jacket and sunglasses being like, Raz and Gran, let's get this bread, man. It's just like
Yeah, exactly.
it's
They're just
all
like
made up.
the world's on fire, but I'm a girl boss. The world's on
Right.
fire, but I'm a girl boss, and that's what matters at the end of the day.
It's like,
Um,
okay, Jan.
yeah, it's like sure, Jan.
Yeah.
Like they're the same side to, or they're different sides to the same coin. You either have these business bros or girl bosses, and somehow they attract to each other, um, in a really weird way. I guess as my granny always says, it's funny how those people find each other.
Right.
Um, but it's one of those things that I think has, like I said, become very highlighted because of the pandemic. That people who I said in the very beginning, the people who are kind and understanding are going to continue to be kind and understanding, and the people
Hmm.
who are like selfish and focused on money, they're going to continue to do that during this pandemic, and it's true. um I just feel like there is some humor to it, um with the girl boss. So I think it'd be fun to kind of go through like some stereotypes. At least I've noticed. Maybe you've noticed some stereotypes. Maybe you have some stereotypes.
Okay. Yes, I
Um,
do.
of some girl boss isms.
Hmm.
And hey, have you ever thought about like being a part of my NutraFruit system on Facebook? It's really good. You can be your own boss in a week. I
Oh
have
my
10
God.
people that I talk to. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Um, and here's some things that are on my shelf. So I'm a girl boss. Yes, that's right. I work from home. And my three kids, Kaylor, is a little boy. Kaylor,
Jacqueline.
Jacqueline, and Leaf. They are my three kids, and I love them so much. They let mommy do makeup on them and then show them to my Facebook viewers. All while I'm drinking out of a stemless wine glass that says wine o'clock or rosé all day. I'm just so silly like that. I'm just so silly. Like, I'm just so goofy.
You're just so
Found it at
crazy.
TJ Maxx. I'm such a Maxinista. um, you know, and sometimes you might see me with weird writing on my shirt or in the nice cursive writing that says "Girl Boss." Ah, just so silly. Okay, so those are some of the stereotypes I'm
Right.
thinking
I
of,
was like, you
and
just like went through all of them.
let me just say too that I feel like you can like maybe someday I'll have a wine glass that says rosé all day, but it's a mixture of all these stereotypes that go into making a girl boss. Are
Oh,
you
totally.
part of a pyramid scheme on Facebook?
Right. Are you one of the 7 women who get together who sell each other the same products and then market it back to each other? You might be a girl
Girl
boss.
bosses.
Yeah.
You might be a girl boss. Are you an ally to the queer community but then date a homophobic man because he really has a good heart deep down? He just doesn't know he's being like that.
You might be
Girl
a girl
boss.
boss. Yeah.
You might be a girl boss.
And then it's just like, but then it's also like the king stereotype where it's just like, let me go to my closet, man. I'm feeling really good today. I'm gonna have a
Yep.
fresh photo shoot of how hot I am. Should I choose this black t-shirt that says hashtag king, or should I choose this black t-shirt that says hashtag grind?
Man.
I would
Like,
ask my friend Bobby about this, but he's become so
yeah.
fucking fake now that I have all this money, which is
Yeah.
so
What a
ridiculous,
snowflake.
man.
He's such a
That's
snowflake.
such a snowflake,
Like,
which is
people
it's so crazy
change.
to me. Yeah. And just because I borrowed $1 million from my dad to start this company doesn't mean that I work really fucking hard to get what I wanted. So get this
Yeah.
grind, man.
Get this grind. And let me just tell you this, that just because I wear gingham, khakis, and boat shoes to the club doesn't mean that I am not stylish. It just means that me and my business associates, yeah, that's Randy, that's Jake, my best friends from
My
high
bros
school,
for life.
my bros for life. We started a coffee company in called Rise and Grind. in our garage. That has to be a real thing, right?
Right. I was
Like
gonna say, rise it. Right.
that has to be a real thing.
And don't worry, we're environmentally friendly. We only use recyclable plastic straws. That's
And
all.
don't worry, we don't overuse water. Like, I don't flush the toilet when I piss. Only for number twos. Only for number twos do I flush the toilet. We are environmentally friendly. Don't worry about it. Save the turtles. Save our world.
Woke. Hashtag woke.
Yeah.
Like
Just want
these,
to say good morning to all of my kings out there and my lovely girl boss queens.
it's 6 o'clock. You should have been working for like, 24 hours now because the grind never stops. Am I right?
Ride never stops. I could be on the potty and be, playing Tetris, but also making those sales.
So one thing that I've always noticed about these girl bosses and these like cash kings is the fact that like if they become somewhat famous, there's always like some story like 2 years down the line of being like former employees being like they literally stole from me. They literally
Yeah,
like
yeah.
held me at gunpoint and stole my cash. Like,
They're like, bang bang, give me my money.
right. So I think the weird thing for me too is that like another stereotype of a girl boss slash cash king is they're probably going to rob you at some point
They
if you
may
work for
it
them.
it'll probably be like the low key rob you. Like, they'll be like, oh, you told me that I was allowed to make these charges on your credit card.
Right.
You said that you wanted 24 of the 12 palette makeup that I was trying to hawk. It was a sale. You were excited about it.
Robin, when you became a employee of my company, in your contract it says that you are obligated to spend $400 a month on my products. It's how it works. And Robin, it'll come back full forward. The amount of people that are gonna come and buy this project, it's just gonna be money straight into your pocket, girl. You just
You're
gotta
going to,
trust the grind.
like, you got to trust the grind. You have to, you know what? Once you get started, you can find other people that you can objectify. I'm sorry, you can get on the grind with you. And you know what? Just trust the process. You got to trust the process and don't look at that contract too closely. Yeah, don't look at that. That's not an ink smudge. That's a cigarette burn.
Yeah.
It's a legitimate contract. Sure, it may be written in my daughter's crayons, but girl boss.
Have you ever been like associated or friends with someone who ended up becoming a girl boss slash king?
I feel like, oh, I think we all have. I think there are people who um they become obsessed with money, or they become obsessed with this idea of themselves that
Hmm.
just is like not tied to reality, which I can appreciate at a certain extent. I love delusional people. I think delusional people are wonderful. They're hysterical. I'm a delusional person. But these people that, like, they it's the obsession.
Yeah,
It's like
it
the total
literally is.
obsession. And I think, like, I mean, for all you girl bosses and get that bread kings and rise and grind, for all you out there, I salute your delusional ass.
Yeah.
That
So
part.
there was a girl I went to high school with who I was somewhat close friends with, and then I realized that they very slowly over time had become a girl boss because they uh were selling like hair products that it was like shampoos, conditioners, toners, and stuff like that, and it was like all homemade. And every time that I was on her Instagram, it was like, you know how like the stories you could tell how long it is by how many like little like segments are
Mm-hmm.
like remaining.
Mm-hmm.
Every time that I logged on this girl's Instagram, it was always constantly just like 25 little segments. And it's just like the same things over and over. And it's just like, hey, check out this new shampoo that I just bought here. Want to come to this party? Swipe up for details or whatever. And when I look at like the hours of when she posted this have passed, I'm just like, this is like
Mm-hmm.
a 24-hour job, girl. Like, when do you ever get sleep?
She must
Um,
have interns.
yeah. Well, I felt bad for her too because
So you bought her
clearly
shampoo?
no, I never
Oh.
said this to her face, but I always really made fun of her eyebrows because I just drew them out for her. Her eyebrows literally were two
Oh.
semicolons.
I
Like
was
I'm
like,
not.
those are the sperm eyebrows where they're a circle in the front and then lines in the back. That's
Yeah.
yeah, semicolons.
And I'm just like, how can you be selling me these hair products, girl, when you need to be going to the salon right now and fixing your brows?
You need to be go talking to your salon girl bosses out there. I
Right.
actually I'm actually thinking about it. I had someone in my life who has become a girl boss as of recent.
As of
And
recent.
yeah, she hasn't been in my life for a while, but this person back in the day used to do a lot of like charity work and things like that, which great. But over time has kind of like very much cornered the market when it comes to uh focusing on women entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And only working like she claims to be like very like, oh, we're gonna uplift women, we're gonna do this, but then she only works with like white men
Oh.
and only highlights them. But she's like, I'm a girl boss. So it's almost like that. It's another part of being a girl boss is some girl bosses are the girl boss because they only work with men and they don't like working with other women.
They're the type of
What is
girls who
that?
have
What
evolved
is that?
from, they're the type of women who have evolved from being like, I only get along with boys. I don't really get along with girls. They're so catty. I'm a different girl.
They definitely are. And then they're married
Yeah.
to their high school sweethearts. No shame in that game.
Yeah.
Marry the love of your life. But if he's like a racist, homophobic piece of shit who peaked in high school, maybe rethink things.
Right. I
You
was going to
know,
say, is that really part of the girl boss brand, honey?
it might be. It might be.
It might be.
Um, no, the last
Again,
time I spoke to my former her whatever the girl boss I'm thinking of,
yeah.
um, she works with a lot of like music industry people. And she was in Chicago. She doesn't live in Chicago, but she was like in Chicago visiting. And she's like, oh, we should get together. We should get coffee. And I was like, that sounds great. And then she texted me at like 9:30 on a Friday night as I was like getting home from work. And she was like, hey, there's this cool like music party thing, concert music party thing,
Music party
aka
concert thing.
a concert.
Yeah.
There's like this secret concert that I'm helping run, and it's at this location. If you want to come to it, I think it'd be really fun. So I'm like, oh, that'd be fun. And then she was like, yeah, it's like $75. And I was like, $75 to go see a secret concert. I need that like I need a hole in my head.
Right.
Like I don't like what the fuck.
Also, $75, like, is it going to her scheme? Is it going to like her brand? Like, what?
Right? I don't know. Like if you're going to try to get my money, at least try to be sneaky about it. Don't be
Right.
like, "Oh, can I have some?" I It was more money to see the secret concert that I didn't even know who was playing than it was for me to get tickets to go see Cher a few years ago. That's insane to me.
That
That's
is insane.
bullshit.
Right.
Come on.
Your friend is just like, don't worry about the payment, just Venmo me at Ali Christina. Like,
Oh my god, right? Yeah, definitely like it's very interesting amongst like other reasons why I don't talk to her anymore. Her silence on Black Lives Matter, her obsession with
she doesn't have time. She has to work.
she has to be on the grind. Her obsession with like being a missionary to other countries, but then like not actually helping people in her own community. You know, working with only white men. Um, oh, white rappers too. And
Oh my
also like,
God. There's a kid in my high school
oh,
who, yeah, I think he goes by like, so the area code in Spencer is like 712, and I think like his
mhm.
rap name is like based off of the area code, which is a small town in Iowa. It's not like, when it was like, it's not like, you're doing like,
He felt he was real original with his 303 ass. Like, come
right. It's
on
not like it's
now.
like 706 or 716,
Right.
like in the Bronx or whatever, but he constantly promotes his music on Facebook as well. Now, granted, I think that's a little different because you actually are creating art, but it's always the white
Yeah.
rappers that do it for me.
Do it for you in a sexual way, or do
Oh
it for you
God,
like I
no.
can't. Oh, okay. Well, you were like, it's always the white rappers that do it for me.
Well, I in the sense I'm just like,
But
oh,
you
you
mean like,
think?
oh, you're trying.
Yeah, yeah. You're just like, oh, you poor thing. Like, you really
Oh my
think.
God, I'm thinking of a Get This Bread King that I once knew. Oh my God, you've opened Pandora's box, and I love an open box.
And it was
Uh,
only a subscription of $47.99.
right. Okay, Tamisha Iman. So we love Tamisha.
Tamisha
Stan
Iman is the
Tamisha.
ultimate girl boss.
Yeah, honestly, she's the only girl boss I'm caring about is Tamisha Iman.
Right.
She's getting that bread. Get that bread, queen. But this guy that I met in college, he had a band here in Chicago, and he was like relatively like popular, and he was pretty nice. And then he moved to Brooklyn, and haven't talked to him in probably like 7 years. But we still follow each other on Instagram. But like he all the time posts like, "Time to get this bread, time to get this bread," and I'm just like, "What bread? And
What
why aren't
bakery
you
are you going
sharing?"
to?
Yeah, exactly. What bakery are you going to that you're getting all this bread? But he has kind of transitioned his sound from doing music that is like rock 90s music to like weird Brooklyn white boy raps.
Oh.
And like, I don't know. Like, I didn't understand the term cringe until I saw it, but it's just not. I'll send you stuff. I'll send you
Okay.
stuff off the pod. We
Well,
you know what we need? We need a Patreon where people can pay. We need something behind a paywall so that people can pay to hear us shit talk certain people. Like, you
but
want to
then
know who
wouldn't
we're talking about?
right. But then wouldn't we become our own girl bosses because we're making people pay for this?
I told you we're the girl bosses of queer podcasting.
That's true. We hate who we become.
Gotta get this bread. Gotta get this
Now,
podcast bread.
okay, again, we just want to reiterate, we're not trying to we're not trying to knock down women who want to do well for themselves. We're not trying to
Right.
knock down men who just want to be able to provide for their family or like to live a good life. But it's the people who
Right.
fall for the capitalistic scheme that basically markets to people like them that are saying like you could have it all if you just pretend. Like, and it's,
She said it. She
yeah.
said it. You got it.
Yeah, and it's just like if you really want to be like making a change here, again, do it. Fight the big companies. Fight like sexism in the workplace.
The change starts from within. The call's coming from within the house.
The call is coming from within
You,
the house,
you,
and it's
you,
saying
you
rise and grind, sweetie.
it's saying go back to sleep, sweetie. Yeah, if you're like, if you're hearing or listening to us, or hearing or listening, if you're hearing or watching us, and any of these you're like, wow, that's not right. I don't believe. Maybe you are a girl boss.
Maybe.
Maybe you're a Wonder Bread business bro.
Right. I mean, you can like if you want to expand this even further, you can even say things like, wear pink for breast cancer awareness, and it's like, sure, that's like it's a nice cause, but like, where is all this money that all these products that you're selling is going to?
Mm-hmm.
Is it really actually going back into breast cancer awareness, or is it just going back into funding more pink ribbons to be shipped out for you to buy? So
Exactly.
it's the
No,
same
it's true.
thing. Like the terminology of the girl boss is just being sold to you, and all you're doing is buying right back into it so that it could be marketed to other women. Pride Month, companies will, give you these rainbow open-toed Uggs at Target that you can buy for $20. But is that really going to help the queer people around the world besides having beautiful shoes? I don't think so.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I maybe the goal for this upcoming Pride Month is to be the girl boss of Pride.
Well,
The girl
what
boss
Kyle
of
and I,
Pride.
yeah, what Kyle and I are going to do is we're going to go to a local Target and we're going to buy every single shitty marketing scheme that has been sold to us. It could be from the mouthwash to the vodka to our open-toed Ugg sandals. We'll buy it all and be our own pride bosses.
We'll be our own Pride bosses. Oh my God,
Mhm.
be a Pride girl boss.
Pride girl
Boss girl
boss.
prize. Girl boss bride. Get this Pride bread. Get this
The
Pride bread.
pride bread. It's the same
The Pride
bread, but
bread,
it's
yeah.
just rainbow colored.
Food coloring. Oh God, red dye number 40. Don't eat it. Don't eat
Right.
it.
All right, Kyle. So moving forward, how can we get rid of these terrible terms of girl boss slash get this money king?
You
And
can't. They are the roaches of terminology. No, I
yeah,
think that, give it a few years and people won't be saying this anymore, but it'll move on to another term that we will inevitably be annoyed with. But
it'll
that's just
evolve
kind of
into
how it
something
is.
else.
It'll evolve into something else. I think that there's always going to be people who are obsessed with money and capitalism and basic ass shit that they think is really unique and interesting, and it just is not. It's just not it. Um, so I think it will evolve into something else, but I feel like it'd be so cool if there was more of this collective uh understanding that it's all just sort of like made up. Like,
Hmm.
why are you holding so much weight into, you know, being a girl boss or get this bread or make this money? What does that give you? Besides maybe like some financial uh safety, but like, does it make you happy? I don't know.
Right. Are you also going to be? That's the thing too. If you want to be your own girl boss, are you actually uplifting other girl bosses or are you secretly competitive against these women? Because if the answer is the latter, then you're not really being a girl boss. Just
Right.
saying.
And I think that's where kind of you and I are coming at it, is people who are girl bosses in that very specific point of view aren't
Hmm.
usually the same people to uplift others. So like, if you want to be a boss of your own company, if you want to work or have a career or make money, that is not inherently bad. What's
Mm-mm.
bad is like trying to pit yourself against other people. Like, stop comparing yourself to other people. Like, who the fuck cares? It's
Right.
sad. It's 2021. Come
And
on.
especially too, because if you put it into perspective, there's not a lot of people out there who have opportunities to become their own bosses.
Right.
And there's not a lot of people who have the financial stability, who have the skin color, who have,
Hmm.
all these advantages that some other lucky few have. So
Hmm.
uplift the people who aren't going to be given those opportunities to try to become their own bosses. Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else?
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Leave the stemless drink glasses at home, and well, just, I was gonna say chuggy. Do you know what chuggy is?
No.
All right, Chugi's this new thing, and because I'm on TikTok and I'm, finger on the pulse, uh, so Gen Z has decided to call things Chugi that millennials are doing. So like, Chugi is like basically like girl boss stuff, like that fancy like cursive writing that's just like, be yourself, or like, I'm a queen, and it's like like, essentially it's just what we would say, oh my god, they're so basic.
Right.
They're calling it chuggy because they can't, because I guess Gen Z can't just say, wow, that's kind of basic. They have to call it chuggy, which
Chugi.
in a weird way I'm like, that is so camp, like, and so
Right.
stupid. Like, am I chuggy? Probably.
There's
But
so many
like,
like terms that Gen Z do that I like I love. Like I just found out what the word simp means the other day. I'm just like,
okay, explain the word simp, because I think I know what it is, but explain the word simp to me.
so I mean, every queer person has definitely done it to a straight man. It's when you give a person a lot of attention in the hopes that
Yes.
they either like you back or they'll hook up with
Right,
you.
right,
Yeah.
right. Like, oh my god, I'm being such a simp for them.
Yeah.
Like how like I'm a simp for the Target cashiers.
Yes. And your
Yeah,
Starbucks boys.
and my Starbucks. Oh, stop. There is hope that one day they will love me
Yeah.
and they will fill me up the way they fill my Trenta size cup. Hello,
Just like
Starbies. I'm talking to you.
just like I am a huge I simp for the hot men that come to the gym that work out. I'm always just like, yeah, I'm like, hi, like, can you show me how to lift? Oh, you're so strong. Like,
Oh my god. That shows our personalities. You simp for people who are at the gym. I simp on my Starbucks boys.
I mean, hey, we all have a type.
We all, yeah, we do. Talk
Yeah,
about rise and grind. I
right.
want them to rise and grind up on this. Hello.
Ooh,
Ooh.
get that bread king.
Yeah, get that. You want this bread? Highly
Right.
toasted and
Get that loaf of sourdough there.
Sourdough. Oh, I'm a sweet loaf.
All right, so we have
Oh.
just spent the past hour making fun of girl bosses and hashtag get that cash king. Kyle, where can people find us on social media?
So if you want to be a girl boss, this is what you got to do. You need to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Fear the Queer Podcast. We are posting content and quizzes and being our own girl bosses and starting our own mid-level marketing schemes and pyramid schemes. It is wonderful. And if
And
you're
you
not
can do it
sure if
too.
you and you can do it too. With 5 easy payments of $19.99, you can hear us talk for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud. Or if you're watching our cute little faces, you're on YouTube.
Exactly. Don't forget to like and subscribe because the more revenue that comes in for us will eventually go back to you, the people.
Yeah,
Just
and
saying.
I'm so excited to start distributing our cups that say girl bosses. And they'll be free once you pay $75 to join. Um,
Exactly.
it'll be great. But if people want to contact us, Josh, to get in on this marketing scheme, I mean this amazing opportunity, how could people do that?
Make sure to slide into our DMs and make sure that when you do slide in your DMs that you fill out the online application that gives your credit card information as well as your Venmo app because we definitely need that in order for us to move forward to the next level of becoming our own girl bosses. That
Right,
being said,
right.
don't check our email. Unfortunately, Google has temporarily disabled our email because of some scheming opportunities that they saw, but I'm not sure what they really meant by that. I'm gonna have to contact my lawyer for that.
Yeah, we'll just contact our lawyer, who was this girl that went to my school back in 1997. Yeah, she's like a really close friend on Facebook, and we're gonna be girl bosses together. My favorite part about
Hmm.
being a girl boss, do you want to know?
What?
Wearing my leggings.
Ooh, are they
Can
the
I be real? Can
Lululemon
I?
ones?
Let me be real. Let me be real. Leggings, super comfy. Everyone
Oh,
should have leggings.
I
So
really
girl
want.
bosses, I want to, you know what? I want to culturally appropriate girl bosses, and I'm going to walk around with my wine glass, my Starbucks, my oversized sweaters that say girl boss, my leggings. I love it.
Mhm.
I'm going to culturally appropriate girl bosses.
Oh, you should. I mean, it's the recognition they deserve. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, I was gonna say. That being said, I definitely agree. I think leggings are super cute, and I really like the. I really want a pair of those ones on TikTok that you see that like really lift your butt
That
up.
just lift your butt, right?
I've seen
Oh
some
my
cute boys
gosh.
in those leggings, and I really like
You
it.
say, get this bread.
Hmm.
Hello.
I was like, can I slap that
Wear it to
bread?
the gym. Oh my god, can I slap that bread with with consent? And they're
With
just like, who are
consent.
you? And you're like, I'm a girl boss.
Well, as always, I'm Josh,
And I'm Kyle.
and we're Fear the
Fear the
Queer.
queer.
Be your own boss.
Bye, girl boss. Get this bread. Hashtag queer girl boss.
Hashtag queer girl boss. Hashtag be your own pride boss.
Hashtag be your own pride boss. There we go.
I like that.